VLSos here. This is a pre-algebra video lesson on place values. I have a very large number here. It has many digits in it. Each one of these symbols is a digit within the single larger number. Place values are important because where we put digits influences the numbers that we express. We want to be able to read a number so that we can communicate it. For example, we may be asked, how do you read or voice? How do we use language to express this number? Also, in this example that we'll get to, we could be asked, how do you write with digits a number that can be said as 83,071 and 64 ten-thousandths? That's pretty sophisticated, and understanding the place values of the digits is really important. In the number that I've written here, we have a decimal point. And so we can start to look at the digits around the decimal point and list them and name their place value. This 0 here is in the ones position. This 1 next to the 0 is in the tens position. So in this number, I already know, if I've reviewed what place this 1 is in, I know this number includes 110. 10 is a part of this number, but there's many more places to account for. After the decimal place, we have another one. It's the same digit, but it's in a different place, so it stands for a different quantity within the greater number. This place is the tenths place. And that is a fractional amount. So we have 1/10. And notice that these words are very similar. Sometimes when we voice these words, we have to be very careful to pronounce them accurately so the people that we're talking about numbers with understand what we're saying. The difference between tens and tenths. This 2 is in the hundreds position. This 2 here is in the hundredths position. We have to be careful because they're similar words, but we have to pronounce the end of those words so that we can hear precisely. Hundreds and hundredths. This 3 is in the thousands position. And we can compare that to the right of the decimal with this 3 being in the thousandths position. I have a 4 to the right of the decimal, and I will write its position. This is 10,000ths. The 4 to the left of the decimal is the 10,000s position. Now you might be familiar that in a very large number like this, it helps to include commas to group the digits so that we can see them more accurately. We use commas to group digits in groups of 3. And you'll notice as we write these positions that the groups of 3 also have a similar name. So we have the 5 and the 4 and the 3 grouped together between these commas. Those digits are communicating how many thousands we have. This 5 is in the hundred thousands place. I'm going to stuff that long name in there. So we have commas here, and this group of 3 is how many thousands belong to the overall number, 543 thousands. This group here is the millions. The 6 belongs in the place that we call millions. The 7 then is in the tens of millions. And the 8 is in the 100 millions. The 9 is alone, but of course we could have more digits before it to make the number larger. For this example, we're listing the places that are most commonly used, and the highest place that we'll list here is the billions place. So now with the reminder of the name of each place, we can voice this number, we can read it and speak it aloud. So for this example, how do you read or voice the example number? It would be like this. And notice one more thing to talk about before I do that. This decimal place, when we're going to voice a number, is very often referred to as point. Some people use the word and when we get to that place in the number as we speak it out. Some people are in the habit of using and more frequently when reading large numbers. That's okay. And technically means addition when you use it in mathematics. It's okay to use the word and when you voice a long number, but it's proper not to. And you'll notice that when I voice this example, I'm not going to use the word and at all. I will call this point. When we read the part of the number after the decimal point, there's two conventions. Some people just list the digits to the right of the decimal place when you get there, and some people will read the number out and then voice the last place. I'll provide both examples. So how do we say this number? This is 9,876,543,210.1234. Now, when I got to the point, I also could have said 1,234 ten-thousandths. My preference is to list the digits individually after the decimal. For this example, how do you write with digits 83,071,064 and 64 ten-thousandths? We have to be very careful, and we'll go slow and make sense of this here. Well, I'm going to start with the 83 million. I'm going to write the number here, and the 83 is quite clear. But if this is going to be 83 million, then I'm going to start with a comma, so this 83 is before it, and it's in the group of the millions. So after it, I need to include digits until I get to the decimal place. The number as written, 83 million, does not contain, 71, does not contain any thousands, but I still have to represent the digits in the thousands group with some zeros. And I'm looking for this next part, 71. So I'm going to use a comma and keep going. I haven't reached the decimal place yet. I have no hundreds. There's nothing in the hundreds place in this number. I just get to the 71. So here I've been careful to include digits in places that the number as written didn't represent. So let's review 83 million. There's no thousands there. There's no hundreds, and I get to the 71. When I read the word and, that's a clue that I need a decimal place. How am I going to write the rest of this number? And 64 ten-thousandths. I know that the number is going to have a 64 in it, but if I just write a 64 after the decimal place, then this is going to be 64 hundredths. And they need to be ten-thousandths. So I need to include 2 zeros so that the 64 ends up being a 6 and a 4, and it ends up being this last place, the ten-thousandths that I must represent.